In this video we're gonna take a look at the Adaptalux macro photography lighting kit. I got a test kit to try out and I've been playing around with it for a few hours, and in this video I'm going to tell you what I think about it. So basically you have a main unit. I think this one costs 150 British pounds. So I guess that's around 150 US dollars. And this is of course needed. And then you attach a few arms. You can buy as many or as few as you want. I think the LED arms are 37 pounds each. And you also could buy flash arms. I did not get to try any of these, but they are, I believe, 110 pounds each. So this stuff is not super expensive, but it's not cheap either. The main unit, or the pod as I think they call it, is charged via USB-C, but it seems that it's not actually a true USB-C port, because when I try to charge it with a USB-C charger, it doesn't work. I need to connect it to a USB-A charger to be able to charge it, so that is a bit of a minus. Then you have a tripod socket on the other side, so you can mount it on any regular camera tripod. I put it on my GorillaPod and did some testing. I was a little bit surprised that it's not possible to mount it directly in your camera hot shoe. That was what I would have expected, but you can of course do that if you get some kind of adapter, and I think they sell these adapters on the Adaptalux website as well. The arms, you simply click them into the main unit. It is some kind of magnetic connection there, and it's pretty easy to connect them. You have to twist them slightly for them to stay in place. One thing that looked a bit negative to me was that the lights are flickering a bit when you move them or when you attach them, but that flicker seems to only last a few seconds and then it stops. But yeah, it gives a little bit of a low quality feel to them when they flicker like that. Anyways, the lights work great otherwise, and the arms feel pretty high quality. The arms are not super easy to place exactly where you want them and in exactly the right angle in my experience. They are a little bit springy, so they kind of bounce back a bit when you adjust them, so it requires a little bit of patience. But if you have a little bit of patience, you can place them exactly where you want them. So I think the experience of using this kit was pretty nice overall. If you work inside a studio and want several lights from several different angles and want to do it in a simple way, I think this is a great product actually. And it was nice that you can use them both with and without a diffuser to get different effects. For example, if you have a man in space like this, maybe some of the light should be a bit sharper. As you can see, I played around a little bit with a rim light here, a blue rim light that had no diffuser on it. So it was pretty easy to set it up and to get some decent shots. I also had another scene where I used a bit of glycerol to simulate the look of water drops. I put them on a leaf and I got these shots, and I'm very happy with them, and it was pretty easy to adjust the Adaptalux lights to be exactly where I wanted them to be. When you shoot water like this with a macro lens, it's always a good idea to try to get the light to come in from behind. That way the water drops look the most beautiful. You can also screw off the tube that the lights are in to make them a bit more directed to where you want them, so that's a great feature. The pod works like this. You can use the big button to switch between the lights and then spin it to adjust the strength of the light, so you can control all of the lights via the pod directly. But they also have a Bluetooth connected iPhone or Android app that you can use as well. It's up to you if you want to use the app or control directly on the pod. The app worked great for me. I used it on my iPhone, no problems whatsoever, no problems with the Bluetooth connection or anything. It just worked, so that was a nice experience. The lights are not super bright. If you shoot handheld, you will have to use a pretty high ISO, so I would suggest that you don't try to use these outdoors. It will probably not be a good experience because it will be unwieldy and light will be not really enough to do good macro photography where you can freeze the action. But in a studio situation, the lights are enough, especially if you have the camera on a tripod or steady otherwise. You can just use a bit longer exposure times and then it works great. I used exposure times here of around 1 second or maybe half a second, and I got enough light that way. You also have a boost mode on the lights, so you can get them to shine a bit brighter than on the regular setting, but still they are like pretty weak, so you should not expect them to be strong enough so that you could use a fast shutter speed like 1/250th of a second combined with a low ISO like 100. That is simply not possible with these lights because they are not strong enough. I also know that they have a LED arm with ultraviolet light, so that could be interesting to experiment with if you have some kind of subject like certain flowers, for example, that can fluoresce in ultraviolet light. That could be interesting to try. I did not try that for this test. So all in all, I think the Adaptalux LED light kit is a good product. For around $200 you can get the base pod and a couple of lights, and that's a decent value for money if you ask me. And if you're doing macro photography in a studio situation and you want good control of your lights and you want a simple solution to adjust all the lights and the angles, I think the Adaptalux kit might be for you. Of course, you could just as well buy a few cheap flashlights on eBay and get a much cheaper solution with even stronger light sources, but then you would have the challenge of how to position these flashlights in a good way, which would require something extra. So I think the nice thing with the Adaptalux kit is that you have an all-in-one simple solution which gets you started easily. Thanks for watching this video and see you soon again.